Welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment, the sports capital of the world. And again, my co-host, a beautiful Shelley Stevens.
Hey, everybody.
Well, we're here just to hang out a little bit today and just talk about life in general. You know, Shelley and I always talk about good things in life. One thing that we love doing is helping people out there. That's the way Joe Cortez and Shelley, we were cut out to be that way. And that's the way we're going to be. Nothing going to change us. We wish the best for everybody out there. You know, guys, I come from 99th Street in Manhattan, in New York City, at the East Side, Park in Madison. I was talking to my friend today, Rob Rochette, and we grew up together. We started going to third grade, fourth grade together. And he's about my age. He's a young guy, and I like to see him. He sounds pretty good. And we got so many friends. I had Radimus and Rafi, and Frankie, so many friends from 99th Street. If you guys are out there, I want to wish you the very best. But Shelley, you know, you and I, you come from Philadelphia and I'm from Manhattan. And we grew up in tough times back in the 50s and 60s growing up. But I used to love to play stickball. Stickball was one of my favorites in the block of 99th Street. We played stickball. Remember, we used a broomstick as a stickball was Spalding. We used to buy it from Josefina had a candy store down the street. We would buy the Spalding from her. And I remember we played stickball in the middle of the street there. And when the cop car would come around, we'd take the stick. We had to put it underneath the car. Because the police back in those days, they considered that like a weapon. So we had to hide the stick until the cop went by. When the police went by, then we got the stick from the broomstick from underneath the car to keep playing stickball. But my brother Mike and I, from there we gravitated towards boxing. Mike and I became fighters. And I remember Mike was 16 years old when he started boxing. I was 15, and then I started boxing as well. But it was a lot of fun, you know, keeping myself out of trouble. The Boys Club in New York was a very good place to be. The Jefferson Park branch on 111th Street, and between First and Second Avenue. And I'm sure that you did your thing. You were
Growing up in Philly? Oh, my God.
What did you play? You not playing football, but you one of the girls.
I was a cheerleader in high school, definitely. Yeah, I went to West Catholic High School for girls. And one block, and then down the block, there was a West Catholic High School for boys. And so I just wanted to be a cheerleader, and I joined up, but I didn't know a thing about football. Yeah. But I waited for my girls to go, yay. Then I knew it was time for me to hold up my pom-poms and go, yay. But I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, it's very good. And I see when I watch my grandson, Bryce, who plays football, indoor football league, the professional. That's a new league they got, indoor football league. Yeah. And we watched the girls doing that. And I told my granddaughters, what did you guys get involved with that? I said, no, that's not for us. We don't mind watching them. But my granddaughter, my youngest granddaughter, she doesn't play volleyball.
Right.
So they travel around the country playing volleyball. Then my oldest, that's Maya.
Yeah.
And my oldest granddaughter, Ayana, she goes to San Diego State.
Good for her.
San Diego State, she's supposed to be I think anesthesiologist, I believe it is.
That's great.
Yeah. So these kids are on the right track. Bryce graduated from Purdue University. Then my other grandson, Ricky, he's in the Army right now. So they do their thing. He's doing other things with the government I can't talk about. But he's we got 4 grandchildren, and they got the little one, the little angel.
Yeah.
Isabella, who's 2 years old. That's my great-granddaughter. Yeah, so, you know, we like to see all these young kids come up. But I always tell parents out there watching, you know, watch your kids and guide them in the right direction. Sometimes we get lost in the middle of the way things are going on in this country and all over the world. We have to try to guide our children in the right direction because sometimes we get lost out there. When you're young, you don't know what direction to take. You're not educated enough to know what's happening. But I learned a lot. What you call street smart.
Yeah. A
lot of street smart. And so you yourself from Philadelphia and New York, we learn how to deal with certain things that come our way.
Yeah.
Some people don't know what to do when things happen to them. That's why you parents out there, talk to your kids and guide them and tell them what to do and what not to do, because sometimes you get into gangs. Before you know, you're doing drugs. Before you know, you're carrying guns. And all these things that I'm telling kids, parents out there, watch out for your kids. You don't know what they're doing. Today with social media, they're on their computer. You don't know. Yeah. You sneak over their back and they hide it. They don't want you to see when you're typing on that. But you got to watch these kids with social media. It could be good to some extent, but bad on the other side.
Absolutely.
Because of the bad things that are out there.
Yeah.
You got all these crazy people out there. They get these young folks they send texts to the young girls and try to lure these young girls in. Oh, I'll buy you this, I'll buy you that. Meet me over here, meet me over there. They don't even know these guys. These guys are out there. They're out there all the time. And, you know, as an FBI alumni, I'm part of the FBI alumni, which means I'm not an FBI agent, but I'm part of the FBI alumni. And we gone to programs where they show us on the big monitor. They show all these pedophiles out there texting these young little girls. You can see hundreds of names of individuals. They're texting one another, and you can see what's going on. They're trying to lure these kids in to come with me, meet me over here, meet me at the store. I'm gonna buy you this. I'm gonna buy you that. And these young girls, they fall for that because their parents cannot afford that. So they fall for it, and they meet these guys. Before you know it, they get raped or they get murdered, whatever.
Absolutely.
So we got to be careful. You parents out there watching, please tell your children to be careful. Keep your guards up at all times.
Yeah, it's a much dangerous world now than it was when we grew up. You know, I remember growing up in West Philly, and I used to always wonder why I was raised by my mother and my grandmother. My father died before I was born. So they never let me go outside and play with the other kids on the street. And I was always like very sheltered. And I used to just stay in the house and watch like musical shows like the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh, yeah.
That was my thing. You know, I knew like Diana Ross and the Supremes and everybody from Motown.
That was when TV was black and white.
Yes.
That Sullivan Show, it was black and white. No color.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you know, and I used to say, like, you know, how come I can't go outside and play with the kids? And my grandma was like, we look out the window, see those kids running up and down the street and acting stupid? No, that's why you can't go out and play with them. So it wasn't until I started grade school where I met other people. And then, you know, by my mother and grandmother meeting the parents of the kids, and that was the way you made friends back in the day. It's like, let's see where they come from, how their parents are. Then once we got to know them and the parents, then I was allowed to play with them, go over their house, or they would come over my house. But I was never in the street, you know. I used to wonder why, you know. But now I know. It's dangerous.
But, you know, you raise your kids the right way. You got your beautiful daughter, and you raise her the right way.
Yeah.
You know what was right, what was wrong. But, you know, there's the youth program, juvenile programs out there to help these kids, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Before, when I was a member of the Boys Club of New York, it was only the Boys Club of New York, but now it's a Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
You know, which is right. You know, have the girls involved in sports.
I was a Girl Scout for a while.
We have our friend, you know her, Delilah, who's a boxing referee now.
I love Delilah.
I've been helping her out.
Hey, Delilah.
I've been helping her out with get him in the right direction with boxing.
Yeah.
She's a real good amateur. Hopefully she go pro before the end of the year. But she's definitely on the right track. But that's the thing is, pay it forward, help people out there. You know, it doesn't hurt to help people out there.
That's right.
You know, you and I have always been the same way. And Wesley the same way. Wesley loves his music. Your husband Wesley.
And his boxing.
Well, that's a hobby for him. He loves boxing. He likes football. But yeah, you know, we all have to try to do something positive. We got our good friend Rick Manning, who's our director for the studio here. Rick Manning, but what a man he is. A very special young man who's gone through some things in life, and he's like a champ right now. He says he's making a comeback. He says the right one will get you, the left one will. That's Rick Manning. Rick Manning is really a good guy, and we think the world of him. I always talk good about Rick because I feel like there should be more guys like Rick Manning. And he's a beautiful director. The studio he has here, he puts 150% of his time with his clients. He treats his clients 100%. I mean, I've been with Rick for close to 10 years already. I can tell you, he never changes. He gets better as time goes on.
I know.
And that's the way to be. And you people out there, if you have anything negative to say about Rick Manning, something is wrong with you. Because
I know,
Rick
right?
is one of the nicest guys on the planet.
I have a Rick story as well. You know, it's so funny. One time, Wesley and I, well, you know, we performed on cruise ships for 23 years. And anyway, one day we were like getting ready to perform, and this guy walked through the atrium where we were playing, and him and Wesley looked at each other, and they started hugging each other and everything. And anyway, come to find out, he was a guy named Steve Shore. Steve Shore, unfortunately, he's not here with us anymore, but he had his own TV show called Under the Vegas Sun back in the day. So when he talked to us on the ship, he says, when you guys get back home, come do my show. We're like, yeah, sure, we'd love to. So we went there, and that's when we met Rick. And Rick was like the producer and shooting the camera and everything. And, you know, we just knew he was a great person.
Yeah.
Then years later, when we met you and Rick were at another studio, and you asked me and Wesley to be on your show, and we came and we were on your show, and there was Rick, and we were like, oh my God, we know Rick very well, and now he's here with us again. So we were like, it was meant to be.
That's right. Anybody out there that wants to do anything like a podcast talk show, I welcome everybody to have your own show. It's a good thing to do. Keep yourself busy. You promote your program, your shows, whatever. Talk about helping out the community like Shirley and I do. But it's so important that you reach out to Rick Manning. And Rick Manning,
he's the best.
And we'll post a number later on. But the number for the studio, Regal Studios. If you look at Regal Studios, REGAL.
RIEGEL, I think, right?
GEL, okay. Regal Studios, and you can check out Rick Manning. He'll give you a great price, and the service is above
Excellent.
all. Excellent service. Yeah, so you guys out there, like I said, I bring some guests I bring on the show. I tell them, everybody, I said, listen, what do you guys talk to Rick and do your own show here? They said, we can do that? I said, sure. So a couple of my friends already have come out here and done some things with the show.
Yeah.
I think it's so important.
Yeah.
You know, we help one another out, and we share our knowledge and wisdom, whatever you're doing, whether entertainment, sports, whatever you're doing out there, you can share it on the podcast talk shows. You know, here with Rick Manning, with Regal Studios, is really so. It's a good feeling knowing you can share good stuff. You're good, like we do, talking about helping people out there, especially young folks out there, young boys, young girls. Again, there's also seniors that need a little help too, because there's a lot of seniors out there. You know, maybe one day when I get there, I'll talk about seniors a little bit more with more experience. But I can tell you that talking about seniors out there, a lot of seniors need a little help, a little guidance. Sometimes they don't know who to call for a ride to a medical doctor. They have to get the medication. They got to do grocery shopping. They don't know where to go. So they got a lot of seniors outreach programs out there to help them and guide them in the right direction.
Yeah.
But look up. There's also this a domestic abuse program that's out there. There's you got the Shade Tree. There's a lady named Linda Lopez, which I'm going to hope to get on my show soon, talking about domestic violence. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are going through some difficult times. They don't know who to reach out to.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, you got to reach out. If you think you're being abused, don't let nobody take advantage of your kindness and being who you are. Yesterday, you know, you can get away with it, but a certain amount of time after that, you got to report them. Report them to the police. I don't want to see our good friends or anybody out there get abused, taken advantage of.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, no, we love helping seniors as well. We perform a lot of little shows at the senior centers in Vegas, and just to see them come out, you know, and some of them, you know, they just sit there for a minute.
But then I see them at 80, 90 years old, up there dancing.
Exactly. That's what I was getting ready to say. Yep, they'll sit there and they're quiet at first, or they might be in wheelchairs or just sitting in a chair, and they're just looking kind of a blank expression on their face because they don't know what we're going to be about. And we start playing music from their time, and I can just see their eyes light up. Some of them will get up and dance, and it's like changes
and
the whole mood.
And they're all lip syncing with what you're singing.
Yes, exactly, and that gives us such joy to see. So
yeah, we
love doing that.
Yeah, good doing that. I believe that a lot of young folks, like myself and yourself, we have to help our people. A lot of when I was young, I mean younger than what I am now. I used to, my mother used to always tell me, knock on your next door neighbors and see if they need anything from the store. There was a lady named Bunchy, and then there was Mrs. Leonard, and then they were older people, and I would knock on the door and say, you need anything from the store?
Oh.
And they said, yeah, can you get us it? They give me a couple of empty bottttles, a bag full of bottles. I would cash those bottles for 2 cents each.
Yeah,
And,
I remember those days.
That was my payoff for going to the store for them.
Oh.
But today, you know, we gotta look out for our neighbors sometimes.
Exactly.
Our neighbors. I know some seniors on the street where I live. Every so often, I stop by and knock on the door. Hello, how you doing? Yes, can we help you, Joe? I said, no, I just check on you, see if you're okay. You know, they say, no, everything is good. If you need anything, the house down the street, the last house, you know, is where I'm at. You come there, knock on my door. I'm there to help you guys out.
Yeah.
You know, and people just thinking, why does Joe always do that? But that's the way my mother brought me up.
Exactly.
My mother, in a sense, she rests in peace. She lived to be 99 years old.
Oh.
And I said, well, she was so caring and loving. And I remember my grandmother, Josefina, that was my father's mother. She was also very loving. She looked like a like a real Taino Indian. She had
Oh.
long black hair, and she would be in a, and she had a cigar, and she sat in her rocking chair, and I would go visit her once in a while. As old as she was, she had a cigar.
Really?
And it looked like an Indian. And I said, "Hey, Grandma," she would see me in her lap, and she said, "What are you gonna do, son?" And I said, "Well, I want to maybe go into boxing." When I was already 15, she said, "You're gonna do okay. Nobody's gonna beat you." That's what she always told me. I said, "I hope not." And she was almost correct, almost right, because I did lost one in the pros and two in the amateurs. So she was almost right. But it was always good to have seniors. But she mentally she was there, 100% up until she passed away. She was in her late 80s when she passed. But my mother was 99, sharp as she was to the end. She was very sharp as well. But parents out there, try to guide your children in the right direction, like my mother guided myself and my brother Michael and Richie. And he guided us on the right track, kept us going. She always said, always give to people, always help. So that's why I'm the way I am.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm always trying to help
We
people.
were raised right.
I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to talk bad about anybody. My thing is loving everybody. If I hear something negative about somebody, they're talking out of the table.
We don't want to hear it.
I said, they're not serving negative stuff. I'm getting up. I walk away because I don't want to hear it.
That's right.
I got some friends out there, and I tell them, be careful who you tell your stories to. Your private life, keep it to yourself,
That's right.
Because there's a lot of good people out there. And there's some people that want to hear what you got to say, and then they turn around and talk behind your back. I don't like that. That's not my style. My thing is, if you have somebody that you don't like, tell them, I wish that you change your way. Hope that God guides you in the right direction, because we love everybody out there. Shirley, you and I, that's the way we are.
That's why God brought us together. I believe everybody gets together for a reason, and that was the reason. The day we met, we knew it was kind of like love at first sight for all of us.
Yeah,
so.
just like we met your TJ at the Lola's where you perform with your husband. Your 5 nights a week. That's amazing. Not many people get 5 nights a week here in Las Vegas performing, and you do it at Lola's every.
And we have such a great following that comes there each and every night.
And now there's a schedule there for you where you guys are working. You are Wesley. And then TJ, we got TJ's birthday. They're going to celebrate
TJ's birthday, we're going to celebrate it on Saturday night. Oh, my God, she's like the greatest. Her and her husband, Carlos, we love them just like family. Just like everybody that comes to Lola's is treated like family.
Yeah.
I love it because as soon as we walk in the door, before we even get started, people are like waving and saying hi. And so we go table to table. We're hugging and kissing and welcoming everybody just like it was our own home.
I keep an extra handkerchief with me because by the time I get to the table, I start wiping off all that lipstick. I got lipstick. One day I came home with a lipstick on my collar, and my wife said, "Who's that? Who are you with?" I said, "That was at Lola's. I don't know, somebody put the lipstick on my collar." I wasn't cheating. I hug everybody.
I know, right? Exactly.
I got my jacket on my shirt. I said, "Wow!" But it's a great feeling knowing that you're loved when you go to Lola.
Absolutely. It is such a loving place. What a shout out to our good friends that are our regulars here. Have to send love to Donna. We love Donna so much. And let's see, there's Nene. There's like so many people. Laurie, the hostess. It's Colleen. It's Paul. It's Natasha.
And you got Bob Keller, a good friend of yours, too?
Yes, he is. I talk to Bob almost every day.
Really?
He is such a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, I spoke to him one time. One day he told me, "Joe, keep your guards up at all times." I said, "I do." It's funny that he would say that.
Yeah.
But that's the way you got to tell people, keep your guards up at all times.
Yes, and Bob has these good friends that are in Vegas as well, which we met through him, Megan and Tommy. And Megan and Tommy, they're also our Lola's family. They come all the time.
Almost every week to that.
Yes, exactly. We always have so much fun with our regulars.
So Tommy and Megan are good people. Tommy's a good guy. He played I believe he played basketball when he was young.
Yeah, with Bob Kellogg, exactly.
But he said he has to play golf now. I said, well, I'm not a golfer, but I played a couple of celebrity golf tournaments.
Yeah.
And people were laughing at me the way I swing at the ball. And I looked, and the ball's still there. I got some friends of mine, like Russell Mora and Benji, not Benji, but Gino Rodriguez. Gino Rodriguez, he has a daughter named Gina Rodriguez, who's an actress. And Gino Rodriguez used to be a good referee from Chicago. He's another golfer. They play golf with the former president of the World Boxing Organization, Francisco Vacasal, who was the president, and they play golf all the time. But golf is not my thing. I like to I'm in the hurt business. I don't really want to hurt them. I just want to beat them. But you play golf, you play basketball, you play football, you play all this. But boxing, you don't play boxing. You're there to knock each other out. But like I said, even though I will beat my guy, and you see most fights today, at the end of the fight, they embrace each other like they're the best brothers in the world.
Yeah.
And that's good. One thing about boxing, you have a good heart, even though you're in the hurt business. But you're there to have a sport. You really don't want to hurt anybody out there. One time I knocked out a guy with one left foot, one short left foot, in Monterrey, Mexico. And Gaspar Ortega, my mentor, he said, "Joe, man, you hit that guy with that one punch." He was out there for 5 minutes. I said, "Yeah, I know, but that was a scary 5 minutes for me because I didn't want to see a guy laying out like that. You know, so the bad things go through your mind. I hope he gets up. I've seen some fighters, they get knocked out like that, they never recuperate. But he did, thank God. And I remember there was a big, very famous singer named Mario Moreno. He was know him as Cantinflas. He was a comedian. 80 Days Around the World. He was in that movie with so many famous actors, and Jack Benny was one of them in there. And I remember Mario Moreno was part of that movie, but he's a very famous Mexican comedian. He can do anything. You see him on the Ed Sullivan Show. You see him on all these shows. Johnny Carson's show. The guy was very famous. And when he came up to me in Monterrey, Mexico, he tapped me on the shoulder. I was sitting right behind me. He said, "Joe, you're going to be champion with that. I like the way you box." And that was the fight I had in Monterrey, Mexico. But it was a lot of good things that occurred in my life, a lot of positive things. And this is why, Shirley, I like to share with you and with Wesley, your husband, and so many people, the things that I've been blessed with. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I had to post it online. I've been to China twice. And China they treated me there very well. And I went to the University of in Beijing, and I was one of the students there. I had lunch with him. He took me for lunch, and he was talking English to me, so good English. And then we went on a tour. Larry Hazard, the excellent commissioner, he was a referee one time, and we were together, and we went to the Great Wall of China, and this girl was taking us around. She was interpreting in English to us everything about the Great Wall of China, and she said, "You know, everything is really this way. It's been there for thousands of years where they built these walls." The Great Wall of China. Anyway, I was talking to her about my three beautiful daughters, Sandy, Christine, and Sandy. And then at the end of the day, we were saying goodbye to each other. I hugged her. I said, she started crying. She said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "I wish I had a father like you." You know? And I felt like, well, I got all choked up when she said that. But that's the way it is sometimes. You know, you meet people around the world. Doesn't it, because it's a communist country doesn't mean that the people are communist. You know, there's a government that's a communist, but there are people out there.
People.
There was a soldier out there when I went there the first day to give a seminar. And he was there. And he was by himself. He was all dressed in a military uniform. And he shook my hand. He spoke English. He said, "Mr. Cortez, you know, I referee in the amateurs in the Olympics." I said, "Really? I didn't know that." And then at the end of the day, he said, "Mr. Cortez, you don't mind if I bring my son with me tomorrow? Because I want my son to meet you." I said, "That would be great." But next day he came without a uniform. He just came to hang out with us and be wherever we went to. He had his son with him. He was about 8 or 9 years old. And it was so nice, you know, to meet people. They're nice people all over the world, you know, especially when you go around and you see people around. I've been to so many different continents around the world. I've been to like 9 different continents, okay? And that's a lot to travel around the world. I mean, I've been around the world many times, meeting different people, learn different cultures, how people are, and that's where you learn. I didn't go to any university, but I did go to World University.
There you go.
And that's why I learned so much about so many things about life in general, because you learn to be with people and learn people how they live. I've seen people, and one time I was in Jakarta, Indonesia, in the city of Jakarta, and I saw naked people running across the street. Were coming out, they're naked, running across the street, and they were. I asked the driver, "What's happening with those people?" He said, "Oh, they run to the river. They're gonna take a bath in the river." They live on the outside, but they go to the river to take a bath.
Wow.
So you You know, you don't see these things in real life
That's
until
right.
you actually travel around the world the way I have. So you can see that. Singapore, you've been to Singapore.
Yeah, I was going to say it's another reason why God put us together. You know, it's like we've been to so many of the same countries, you know, with you, with boxing, and me and Wesley with entertaining. And we used to have mixed audiences when we were based in Singapore. We had Chinese, we had Japanese, we had Korean, we had Indian, we had Filipinos, we had everybody. And the thing is that most of them spoke English. So at the end of every show, Wesley and I would always close with a song that actually Rick filmed for us when we did it at the Liberace Mansion. It's called The Prayer. It's Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion. And what it's talking about is half in Italian and half in English, and it brings people together, all races, nationalities, no matter what your political party is, all of that. And that's one thing we used to close our show with all the time.
Did you get to talk a little bit of Chinese?
I can speak a little bit of Chinese, but I can sing better in Chinese. How about that? Yeah.
You can sing in Chinese?
你问我爱你有多深，我爱你有几分。Yeah, okay. Go and Wesley and we have a YouTube channel, Twice as Nice, Shelley and Wesley. And for all of you out there to speak Chinese, we have a whole video out there of us doing all these Chinese songs. It's called Chinese Classics. Twice as Nice, Wesley and Shelley, Chinese Classics. Check it out. Yeah, it's amazing.
A great experience. That's why I say traveling around the world, you learn so much about people. You get to love people from all walks of life. You know, and that's the best way to be.
Exactly.
You know, don't only stick to one pattern. Change, move around, and learn everybody.
Yeah.
Whether you're Hispanic, Black, white, Asian, whatever.
Yeah.
You learn to deal with everybody.
Yeah, I remember one time we were performing because we went back and forth between different ships, and we worked for Norwegian Cruise Lines as well, and we were based, I think, in Europe. And at that time, we were also performing on the one in Singapore. So the entertainment director said, "There's one song I really want you to learn. When you come back, everybody loves it." And I was like, "Okay, what is it?" And he told me. I said, "I don't have anybody over here that's Chinese that can help me with the pronunciation of this song." So I had to put earphones in, and what I did was I wrote down everything I heard, like phonetically speaking, not how they spell it, because it's totally different.
Right.
So I would just write down phonetically what it sounded like to me, and I had to learn a song by myself in Europe to go back to Asia and sing this song for these Chinese people, and they all gave me a standing ovation. I was like, thank Jesus. So yeah, all these experiences that we both have had in foreign countries, that's what brought us together as well. We have so much in common.
It could be that way. I tell you, I always felt like you meet people and talking about all over the world. And you talked about the cruise line. We were thinking, you know, they have a salsa cruise line. They have salsa, nothing but all the bands in Spanish dancing salsa. One day I want to go to one of those cruise lines.
Oh God, we should go together. Definitely.
I told Sue, we got to go on the cruise line like that with the salsa band.
Yeah, we should.
And just dance. Bust off.
God. Yes,
I love to dance salsa.
I know. Just ask anybody at Lola's, they'll tell you. Everybody wants to be your dance partner.
I don't dance much in Lola. Once in a while, for me to get up, it takes a lot for me to get up. And I'm kind of bashful. You know. One time people say, "Joe, how can you be so bashful?" There was one time, so many times, the millions of people watching me live on television. Millions, I'm talking about millions. And one night I was doing a fight in a Mexico City, Julio Chavez and Greg Haugen, 130,000 fans.
Whoa.
At the Stadium of Azteca. And I remember I stopped in the fifth round. Chavez was whipping Greg Haugen's butt, may he rest in peace. He was beating him up, and I stopped in at the end of the fifth round. But I'll tell you, I've done so many fights. I did Chavez and Whitaker at the Alamo Dome in Texas. There were 65,000 fans there. And fights I've done in Europe and in Asia, 40,000 people. And people say, "Joe, you kind of bashful to get up and dance on the floor." Well, you know, you got to pay me to get to dance.
Oh my God!
And I used to love being in the ring, dancing, moving around the ring. It helped me a lot, like being a salsa dancer. I used to do my steps, 2 to the left, 1 to the right, spin around. It was just like a lot of fun. But anyway, that's the way it's been, and that's the way you and I are, Shelley. We love to have fun with people, listen to stories. We share stories with our folks out there watching. You know, and not every day we get to talk about our personal lives. If this is we just talk, we're trying to educate you on what we went through to make you guys fall in the same place that we're in. Mm-hmm. Happy and loving.
Yes, I have a video of us salsa dancing at your house one time that somebody took, and I put it on Facebook, and it went viral. So next week I'm going to show that video and show you just how amazing this man is at dancing, okay?
I don't know. I got 2 left feet, but I can dance.
Do not.
Anyway, you guys take care. Again, it was so nice talking to you guys this beautiful weekend. Enjoy it to the fullest. 95 degrees here today in Las Vegas, and it's going to get to be 115 by July and August. Those are the 2 hottest months. So if you want to come out to Vegas, come out here in the fall or in the spring. But July and August is kind of tough. You take care.
See you tonight at Lola's.
Take care. God bless you. We're fair, but we're firm. Touch them up.
Bye-bye.